Hi everyone! Thank you for coming to the AVG, April event at Spicy Moon. This is Crystal,
Hello.
Nycveganeats NYC. I'm Jess, and we both run Asian Vegan Gang. And yeah, so this talk is mostly to talk about veganism in NYC, Crystal as an influencer in New York City, and then we'll open it up to questions to you guys. So yeah. Introduce yourself.
So I'm Crystal. Oh, okay, there's clapping. So I'm Crystal. I hope all of you follow me. If not, it's Veganeats NYC on Instagram. I've been vegan for 12 years. Definitely half my life I've been in the vegan scene, and so I know a lot of stuff. I've been eating a lot of stuff. I've seen things kind of change and grow. And so as veganism kind of has gotten bigger, I feel like more people are joining me, which is great. So I hope I'm going to be here to answer your questions and curiosities or give you recommendations on where to take your parents, and Jess will ask some questions that apparently people are dying to know, which I don't really believe, but it's okay, they're dying. They're all dead, so.
So I guess first off, what made you go vegan?
So when I was 12, I saw a video called Meet Your Meat by PETA. It's voiced by Alec Baldwin, so it's a very official 10-minute documentary. It kind of just went through the different aspects of factory farming, and I don't know if any of you have seen it or whatever your reasons may or may not be for being vegan, but when I was a preteen, I was like, oh my god, I don't want to contribute to this. My mom was like, oh, okay, you're being so angsty right now. And I was like, yeah, I shopped at Hot Topic, so I was a little angsty back then. But
there's a Hot Topic in New York City?
Yeah, at the Queens Mall, where people hang out in Queens.
Gotcha.
And so I saw that video and I was like, I need to do something. I'm going to go vegan. Because at the end of the video it was like, go vegan. It was like, don't go vegetarian, just go vegan. And I was like, that makes sense to me. So then I did that. And then my mom was like, yeah, it's just a phase. And then I just kind of never grew out of that phase. So.
What was being vegan like as a 12-year-old? Did you have friends who were vegan? Did you have those that are vegan scene that you knew about that you tapped into?
So it was super challenging, I think, because in middle school you're you have to eat the school lunch, really. There's no other places to go. You can't go outside. So I remember there was pizza, and then I would just be like, I'll just peel it off. And all I ended up eating for months at a time was carbs and tomato sauce or the salad. And I just felt like my mom started letting me bring more food and stuff and cooking for me when she had time. But I was just a lot of peeling cheese off or just eating bread. And I know that doesn't count as vegan in today's definition. But when I was in middle school, I was like, oh yeah, this seems legit to me. Mm-hmm. And I think I remember I didn't have a lot of friends who were vegan because it was just not common, or there weren't a lot of 13-year-olds running around saying I'm vegan. Mm-hmm. So I remember I tried to go to a lot of meetups or something, or I did protesting for against horse-drawn carriages in New York, and I was like, I'm gonna find friends here, it's gonna be great. And I went, everyone's 30, and I was like, this is weird, because I was they're like, oh, how, what are you up to? And I was like, I have a final to study for, and they're like, oh, I'm about to have a kid, and I was like, so fun, great, good for you. So I kind of stopped going to those events for a while because I was just feel so young. And I know maybe they don't see me that way, but I felt like there was oh, everyone's just so much older. So now that when I went to college and stuff, it became much easier.
Did you find that by using it, did you find most of your community in college, in real life, or how did Instagram help you find a community?
Yeah, so I think I think Instagram really got big when I was in college. I had it a little bit in high school, and it was just a personal account where I was posting pictures of my dogs and just some of the food I ate. But I actually interned at a vegan company, which you also worked at, called Vote Couture, which was a luxury vegan outerwear company. And then I saw how she was able to use Instagram to find other people who were interested in this movement. And I was like, oh shoot, I want to do that too. So then as I started eating out more, and in college, as people wanted to hang out with me, clearly so fun to hang out with, everyone wanted to go somewhere to eat because that's how you socialize in New York. And they were like, oh, we have to go to a vegan place though. And I didn't want to be that person that was oh yeah, we have to go to the vegan place. And I was like, oh no, it's fine. Just tell me where you want to go, and I'll look at the menu and see if there's options. So I started doing that a lot, and then there were actually a lot of options out there, and I started posting about those options. And then that's how people found me on Instagram and how I found other people, because they were like, oh my god, have you heard of this place? And I was like, no, tell me more. And so we would DM each other, and now I feel like Instagram is really big in general, so everyone's on it.
Wait, so that means that Veganeats NYC is pretty young, 5 years old?
It's 3 years old or 4 years old. Yeah, I think I changed, it was a personal account, so I've had the account for years and years, but I think it was Puppies Kisses Vegan at one point was the name, or my AIM name used to be Miss Boring Life. So I feel like I went along those lines, some random name, and then I was just oh, I'll just change it because it seems popular to have a specific brand name, Veganeats NYC. So I think I got the handle pretty young, but then I was still posting random stuff, and then I didn't really start seriously doing it until maybe like 3 years ago when I then also launched a blog.
Gotcha. So obviously, like now there are like a ton of different options to eat in New York City that are vegan. But growing up, like, were there certain restaurants that you frequented a lot that are still around? Or?
Yeah, Peace Food Cafe was my OG back in the day. And that was the original Upper West Side location, and they opened up one in Union Square. Yeah. And it's still today is my favorite restaurant, and I don't know if it's because I have that nostalgic value. I was like, Peace Food was there for me when no one else was there for me. But now it's like I go there all the time, and it's popular, and I'm like, I'm glad. Because people always ask me, they're like, oh, what's your favorite place to eat? And I was like, oh, Peace Food Cafe. And everyone's like, oh, it's so like, it's kind of like, I guess, vanilla in like the vegan world, because you can have like Champs, which is like indulgent diner vegan food. Or you could have Peace Food Cafe, which is like a regular cafe, solid options, great dessert, but nothing too fancy. But yeah, that place has always been there for me. Champs has always been there for a long time.
Gotcha.
Where else has been? And then just like some places, there's a place, an arepa place called Caracas. Oh. And they actually have like a vegan chimichurri kind of option, or an arepa.
Did you ever go to Food Swings when it was around?
Yes, I also went to Food Swings, which I don't know how long all of you have been vegan, but they closed now. But they were this very junk food vegan spot in Williamsburg, before Williamsburg became Williamsburg the way it is today, and it was really good.
Amazing. And how have you? So you've seen the vegan scene kind of shift and change in New York City over like the past like couple years. Do you want to like talk about like how that has changed and like what that has done for you and your community and like all of that?
Yeah, so I think whenever I see a new vegan spot, I'm like, I'm gonna go support it no matter what. And usually I err on the side that it's gonna be good, just because there's not a lot of vegan options out there. So then I would go and then I would like post about it. And then just yesterday I was like looking through my feed, because I'm like launching another blog post about like vegan options in non-vegan restaurants, which was like one of the most popular requests. And I was like looking through, and I was like, oh wait, this restaurant's closed. And I'm like, let me archive it so people don't get confused. And I'm like, oh wait, this other place is closed. And I just felt really sad, but I also know it's the nature of the restaurant industry. Like, it's not specific to vegan places. And I think there's a huge like online, people are really supportive of vegan spots that are open. I remember there was a place called Gusto Organics. I don't know if anyone remembers this. It was like
on 6th and about 13th.
Yeah, it was near that Urban Outfitters that I passed by. And that was like a really big space, and then they used to not be vegan, and then they made it all vegan, and then they couldn't stay open, and people were like trying to raise money for them. And it's like things like that. It's like people rally around it. Like, I don't think they were able to get the money at the end of the day, because it was like a lot. It was like $100,000 or something very high. But it's like there are a lot of loyal vegan eaters, and I think they're always come to support. But then, just like the nature of New York City restaurant scene, it's like things come and go. It's not, I hope it's not because it's vegan. Gotcha. Like, if it's good, it's good. Like, look at By Chloe. Like, I don't eat there, but like, it's so popular among people who aren't vegan. Like, it's not because it doesn't have any animal products.
And so you are Malaysian.
No, I'm Singaporean. Chinese Singaporean,
sorry.
That's okay.
So you were Chinese Singaporean, and you grew up obviously eating that sort of food. And so when you transitioned to veganism, how did that affect your, I guess, your viewpoint around like your own culture and your background and like what you would typically eat, and like did you omit those things at first?
Yeah, I think it was definitely really challenging, especially when I look at blogs and I'm like, oh, I'm looking for like Malaysian curry, like that's vegan, and then like there wouldn't really be a thing, or there would be someone who isn't Asian writing about it, and they're like, oh yeah, like this is a noodle dish like ramen, but it wasn't really using like traditional ingredients, and it was just kind of confusing to me. And it's tough because people always try to like make a vegan version, but they're not that background, so they like use different ingredients, and then they talk about it like it's this foreign concept, or it's like this really cool thing they tried this one time. And it's different because when I also see like they're always making nostalgic foods like peanut butter and jelly, and I'm like, yeah, like I had that at school lunch, but that wasn't what I was eating as a kid. And so like people like vegan bloggers, I feel like, speak in this universal language where they're like, this is like food for your days when you were a kid. And it's like a very specific type of growing out. Like, I grew up in the city, I grew up in New York, I like grew up Asian. Like the things I want vegan Pocky. Like, I don't want like not vegan like Nutter Butter. I like Nutter Butter, but like something, like that, where it's like, what did I grow up with? Not really. I grew up with like Pocky. I grew up with those little Asian snacks, like the little
pandas.
The pandas with the chocolate and the strawberry in it, and that's what I want to see. So I couldn't eat. I still really can't eat that today.
There's no vegan version. So
yeah, and I think in terms of restaurants, there were a couple that kind of did like Chinese food. Like there's a dim sum place in Chinatown, but it's pretty new. Like there was an older version of it for a while, but it's like still limited to like 1 or 2 spots. And then my mom would always cook for me, which is nice, but it's not the same where it's like so easy where you can like go to your favorite spots as a kid and then eat. But something, but it's great, like places like, you know, Spicy Moon opening up.
Yeah.
They're doing a vegan Sichuan food, and I actually lived in Sichuan for a summer, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was cool.
When?
In high school, I did an exchange program, because apparently that's the thing that high schoolers do, and so I had a host family, and I lived in Chengdu for 4 weeks, and they didn't like me, though. No, they didn't like me because I always wanted to explore, and I was vegan, and they were just like, I didn't really get it. They were like, just push things to the side, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's the only way. I can't really speak Chinese, so I was like, yeah. And we always spoke in pictures, but I found things. I made it work.
And what is your viewpoint on like? So you went vegan for the animals. Did you stay for other reasons like environmental and like health, and like what's your viewpoint on people who are plant-based but not necessarily vegan, or people who say they're vegan but wear recycled leather, for example? Like what is your standpoint on like those sort of things?
I actually lost 30 to 40 pounds in the first year of going vegan. I was like a really chubby kid. I'll show you all later. I have a picture. But like I didn't even know, I guess, because no one bullied me, which was nice. But then like when I lost the weight, everyone was like, oh my God, like you lost so much weight. How'd you do it? And I was so confused because I didn't even know that I was a little heavier than I was supposed to be as a preteen. So then I was like, oh, there's like these health benefits to it. I felt better, like I had more energy. And I lost all that weight. And then also the environmental aspects. So I was always like, yeah, it's like a trifecta of things that are just good for the world and yourself. Like, why wouldn't you do it? Yeah. Being vegan is everything that it does. So that's one thing. But now I do notice, I do follow a lot of like wellness bloggers and lifestyle bloggers who say plant-based. And I was like, oh my God, like we have so much in common. Like my lifestyle's not that cool, but like we're both plant-based. Like that's fun. And they're like, yeah, except I eat fish. And I was like, okay, like I don't want to judge them for sure, but I do think it gets confusing when you then talk to restaurants and then I'm vegan, and they're like, oh, but like how strict? And I was like, the term is pretty strict in itself, like it's not like really flexible. And then like because of everyone going plant-based, like it's great because they are eating less meat. They're announcing that they want more vegetables and stuff in their plate, which is awesome, better than before for sure. But I do think it can give vegans a bad name because they're like, oh yeah, I'm vegan except when I'm drunk. And I was like, how often is that? Like there's so many, like you can say you're plant-based if you don't want to stick to their label as vegan, but I definitely think those who are vegan, like there's like a community there already, because you're like, we understand and we know what you're thinking about people who just say they're plant-based. Like it's a little iffy for sure.
Gotcha.
But definitely like people eating more vegan is great in general.
Great. And in terms of like sustainability and like your own like lifestyle, like clothing, and household items, do you typically like, because I know that you do a lot of services where they send you a package of clothing and then you send it back because that's sort of sustainable in that way. Do you want to, how has that like affected your lifestyle? Yeah,
so I think oftentimes people group together like vegan eating with like sustainable lifestyle, because yes, there is vegan eating and the environmental aspects of how you're helping the planet because you're not supporting like the beef industry, which requires like a lot of water and stuff. But I do think people often forget like what you said about leather. Like if you have leather or if you buy leather, like are you still vegan? Like for me, I don't buy anything that has leather, wool, silk, or anything from an animal product. But I like totally respect people who are like, oh, I already had it, so I'm not gonna throw it away just because I went vegan. Like,
how do you feel about secondhand leather? Like if you're at a thrift store and there's this like leather belt, is it more sustainable to just like get the leather belt that's at this thrift store, or is it more sustainable to like buy a new vegan leather? Vegan
I
leather.
Personally would buy the new vegan leather just because those are small businesses that I definitely want to support. But like depending on your financial constraints and everything, like I personally wouldn't do it. And I think that especially because I'm a little bit of more of a public figure, I think it sends a weird message to people if I'm wearing leather and people are like, oh, you're wearing leather, but you like don't like animals. And I'm like, so I don't want to go there. But like if people have their reasons, like I'm not going to judge them for it. I just personally would not. But in terms of clothing, like I try not to buy anything unless I know I'm going to wear it like more than, I saw this talk once from Rent the Runway. They're like, yeah, if you're not going to wear something more than 3 times a year, like you shouldn't buy it. So that's kind of how I shop. Like I only really shop maybe once or twice a year, and I only get things that I would wear more than 3 or 4 times. And I rent my clothes too often, so this is like a rental. Just so that I don't have to buy, and they just send it back, and it's the new way apparently. At least that's what that's what Rent the Runway, and this is Le Tote, they tell me.
And with New York living, you don't really have like closet space for like a giant wardrobe anyways.
Yeah. And fast fashion's bad, so let's not support that.
I feel like I should open it up to questions. I'm like, I wish I had a watch because I don't actually.
It is 10:37.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I talk quickly, so I got a lot out there.
I guess I will open it up to questions and then maybe talk a little bit more. But are there any questions so far that anyone has for Crystal in terms of like her lifestyle or being vegan?
See? No one wants discussion. We're good. I do want to talk about because Earth Day just happened, and I was looking at people posting about like single-use plastic, like not doing that. And I do think it's something that I do get a lot. Actually, people are like, "Oh, you eat out all the time. You do takeout. Like, what about the environment?" And it is super. I think it is challenging, but it is good to be more aware of these things. Like, I do try to bring Tupperware when I know I'm gonna like have a lot of food, so I don't have to get those packagings. But like trying to avoid like single-use plastic, trying to reuse a lot of materials. I think those are, and like no plastic bags, obviously, stuff like that.
Gotcha. How has I do have a question. How has being a public figure changed the way that you like live your life? Like there are days where I'm like, Crystal, can we hang out? And she's like, well, I'm going to this, and then at 2:00 I'm going to this, and then we can hang out until this time. But then I'm going to this. Like
it's your life too.
No,
Yeah.
it's not true.
I think it becomes like another job, which is why sometimes when people are like, oh, can you do that? Can you like a lot of people DM me like, can you promote this thing? And I was like, it's like a lot. You know, like there's a lot of people asking me to do stuff like that. And I also have a full-time job. I'm a management consultant, so which is already pretty known as like a time-consuming occupation. So I think I definitely have to balance that because I have to like eat out at enough cool places that people want to know about and like get the word out about certain places. I have to support restaurants or like different companies that I've had partnerships or deals with because like they expect a certain output. So I definitely have to like spend more time thinking about the quality. And so I may not have as much time to like hang out and stuff. And especially with eating out, it's like unlike people just sending me packages, like I have to go to the experience of the eat, takes a couple hours. So I try to group it up. I'm like, oh, let me bring my friends and we'll like catch up while I also am working. But it's definitely a balancing act for sure. And I think it's been definitely hard for writing because I know I want to put more permanent blog posts up there of just lists of people, because I get very like frequently asked questions sent to me about like, where can I get a good vegan birthday cake? What's the best boozy brunch? Where can I take my family that's like not vegan? Or sometimes very specific requests like, I'm soy free and I only eat like this kind of oil. Like, where can I go that's also Chinese? And I was like, ooh, like let me like do some mental gymnastics. Like I don't know, but so I get like very like frequent questions and then some more like very specific questions. So I'm like really want to put those out there, and I've been trying to spend time to do that, but. Sometimes you're just tired. Like this week I went to Texas for work, and it's like you travel like a Monday through Thursday, and then you just want to like hang out, watch some Netflix, you know, like I want to do like regular people things too, but it's like you go home from your job to do your other job sometimes.
How do you deal with fatigue? Like are you ever like just tired of like being vegan Veganeats NYC for like a day? Like you just like want to like shut off and like not.
Yeah, I think I'm less attached to it than some of my other friends who are maybe like trying to become full-time bloggers. Like I don't want to become a full-time blogger, so I don't have that pressure on myself where I'm like, oh, I need to produce this, or like maybe I won't get like enough followers or whatever, or I can't monetize, because a lot of my friends are trying to monetize and it is their full-time thing. So I think I don't have as much of the fatigue because I don't like if I don't want to post one day, I don't have to. But I definitely do like. It does bring me joy, spark joy when like people like message me and they're like, thank you for all this, or like someone asked me to send them like a birthday message to their friend, and I was like, that's so weird, but I love it. Like, okay, like if your friend wants me to wish them happy birthday, so like those things make it like fun, like that I'm connecting and touching real people.
That's amazing. Yeah, I actually have a friend who was watching my story, and you were on my story, and he was in the back room at his job, and someone walked by and they were like, oh my god, is that Veganeats NYC? How does she know Veganeats NYC? And he was like, she's just my friend's friend, and like he was like so thrown off. But yeah, I feel like your outreach and like people really do appreciate like what you do, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think that, like I remember one of the times I was like drunk in Koreatown, and then like I met someone on the street, and they're like, oh my god, and I was like, what's happening? And they're like, you're Veganeats NYC, and I was like, this is so weird, and I don't get used to it, but like it's fun. I mean, it's fun. Like And I do try to remember everyone's names and stuff after, so.
Okay, we'll do like a speed round.
Oh.
Sort of thing.
Okay, you've been watching a lot of like night shows, speed
That's not
round.
true.
Late night.
Okay, so where is the best place? Okay, what is your favorite restaurant or top 5 favorite restaurants in New York City?
Okay, that's a lot of. Okay, so Peace Food Cafe, Modern Love. I like Beyond Sushi, like their new that dinner place, the 37th. I think is really good. Buddha Bodai, and then probably Champs.
Gotcha. Where is your favorite place to shop for vegan clothing?
Vegan clothing. I like herbivore clothing, but they're like I think they're in Portland. So.
For in terms of like vegan outreach or.
You said clothing, right?
Yeah. But I mean, like, do you have any other brands that I guess like a not like a Vogue Couture, but like, do you have any like sustainable like sweatshop free spots that you like to shop at?
Yeah, so I like Everlane, except they do a lot of leather and silk, so I've been like, I don't buy those items, but I do like Everlane because they're all about the transparency. And then like for shoes, I like Bombas, which I'm wearing now. So yeah, I don't shop that much, so it is a hard question for me, but like things that pop up on Instagram, I'll always look if they're like vegan, and I was like, okay, you've got me.
Favorite sweet spot?
Favorite sweet spot? I like Van Leeuwen's, even though I like it. I like a lot of options. I like a lot of places that have vegan and non-vegan options because a lot of my friends aren't vegan. But Van Leeuwen's always has like solid ice cream. Dunwell Donuts, which is down the block.
Favorite takeout spot? Like, what's your like go-to takeout spot?
Ooh, probably Marty's V Burger, which is it's near me, so it's like burgers.
I actually haven't been there.
You should go.
Yeah,
it's popular.
What's your go-to like fancy like upscale vegan restaurant?
So I like Kaijutsu, which is a Japanese Buddhist spot. It's like a tasting menu. It's like $98 to $128, but it's like Japanese Shojin cuisines. It's like prepared by, or it's like inspired by Japanese monk living. So that's a pretty cool experience. Del Posto, if you're going real fancy, they're a regular Italian high-end restaurant, but they have a separate vegan menu, which was designed by the Superiority Burger. Well, that'd be another good steakhouse spot.
Really?
Superiority Burger chef. So really good, pretty expensive, almost $200 per person, but like I go there for like special occasions, like birthdays or anniversaries. Those are my top 2 that come to mind. Yeah. Okay,
cool. And I just had one at the top of my head. Shoe brand that you recommend?
Oh yeah, Bombas.
Bombas. Oh yeah, you're right.
They do, every time you buy a pair of shoes, they plant a tree. And it's vegan.
And in terms of like, do you use certain cosmetics that you like to represent, like in terms of like yourself, you know, like face wash care and like what's your like routine like?
There's like a meme that was like, no one says this, and an influencer like, what's your skincare routine? Oh, this is my skincare routine. And I was just like, I really am bad at stuff like that. That's why I don't do lifestyle, because I'm like, my life's pretty, I'm like, I wake up and I like use water and stuff. So for shampoo, I do like Rahua, R-A-H-U-A. It's a rainforest Amazonian woman kind of brand. It's like kind of fancy. So that's always good. Like Jason's is always good. Like it's pretty like anything that's like available, I like. But with shampoo, I was looking for a good one because I have like, I have skin stuff on my neck. What is that called? Eczema.
Eczema. Oh, my sister has that too.
Yeah, it's very common. So I like needed something that wasn't too drying, but also because I have Asian hair, it's my hair's like thin and flat. Like I try to get something with a little more volume.
Gotcha. I feel like that's all the questions that I had planned out.
I like milk for like eyeliner and stuff. People like milk too. So yeah, that's another brand. I don't really use it a lot, but.
Did you want to talk about anything else?
No. Have you all been to Spicy Moon before? Oh, you're gonna be blown away.
Introduce the restaurant?
Yeah, come introduce the restaurant.
No.
Leave when the camera's off.
Okay, I'm gonna introduce the Asian Vegan Gang too, since I don't know how many of you have been to an event before, but Asian Vegan Gang is the brainchild of me and Jess. We saw that there was like this, we were really inspired by like Black Veg Fest, which I don't know if you know, but like last year they did their first ever Black Veg Fest, which is where the Black vegan community kind of came together and created this outdoor festival in Brooklyn. And we were like, whoa, like there's such like camaraderie here. Like, why isn't this a thing for the Asian community? And like similar to what I was saying earlier, like I feel like on Instagram and the conversations about Asian vegan food isn't as rich. Like there's a lot of great bloggers in Australia or like in Canada, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm not over there. And where's the New York scene? So we wanted to have a place where people can kind of gather, talk. And I think there are some specific issues to being Asian and being vegan that maybe like with your family or just about nostalgic food, your friends. So I think it's just a place that we hope that we can find other Asian vegans to just come hang out, pretty casual. We try to throw events and support the local community and restaurants.
I feel like the biggest thing that a lot of people have come to us about is that like they're like, oh, AVG is so great because I am the only Asian vegan that I know. Like I didn't even know that other Asian vegans existed, even like outside of Instagram. You know, like you don't really have that community, and sometimes you go to these events and you don't really see people that look like you, and it gets really discouraging. Or I struggled with like, you know, my background for a long time and like not having Filipino people in my life or like eating Filipino food and what have you. So now it's cool because it's like there are vegan Filipino options in New York City. There are vegan Filipinos here. There are like other Asian vegans here, and I think it's like a bit like a lot of AVG has been rediscovering kind of like my background, which I feel like I hope a lot of other people can like also take away with this is like there is a community for you out there. It doesn't necessarily have to be like look super white, you know, or like So.
It was a funny story because, you know, usually when I don't know if you all have a lot of non-Asian people in your friend group, specifically like a lot of white people, but I went to dinner, my friend's birthday dinner, everyone was Asian. It was actually at 886, which is a Taiwanese street food place. They don't really have a lot of vegan options, but my friend knew the chef and I know him too, and she was just like, oh, like there's gonna be like 50 of us and one of them is vegan, and so he made me a separate menu, but I was like, oh, am I like the only one who has a special menu? And he's like, yeah, and I was like, that's so weird because if I were hanging with my white friends, it's like there's someone gluten-free, someone can't eat certain products, someone can't eat this, but like in this Asian group, everyone was just expected, like it's just so typical for everyone to be able to eat everything. And I think I was a really eye-opening moment for me because I was like, oh, like I was so used to it when I hang out with people who aren't Asian, like having dietary restrictions is not like this big lift that you have to do, but in seeing like Asian eyes, they're like, oh, like what will they eat? Like what will I make them? Even with like my boyfriend's parents, they're like, she's vegan, like what do we make her? Like what do we do? And I'm like, it's not that complicated. But I do think in the perspective of Asian
I feel like
people.
At this point, if you put rice and vegetables in front of me, like it's fine. Like it doesn't need to be anything crazy, but people overthink because you say vegan and they like start freaking out, you know?
Yeah. And we want to veganize all the Asian recipes so that we can all have this nice nostalgia together.
Yeah, it's great that like Spicy Moon, you know, there are restaurants like this who like where we can go and like meet and like everything's vegan, but we also like want to start working with, I mean, we have worked with other people who aren't necessarily vegan and they veganize a menu for a day, and it kind of opens up the conversation in their mind like, oh, like I can execute these dishes without meat. And I feel like a lot of chefs are like realizing that. It's also more cost effective for them. Just like if you use vegetables over meat, it's like a cost effective thing.
Yeah, it's harder to make good, which is good for a chef's challenge, but definitely can be more cost effective.
Exactly.
So sign up for our newsletter if you're not already on it.
Hit me up, hit one of us up.
Follow me on Vegan Eats NYC.
Yeah.
You headed to Vegandale this year?
In September?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Vegandale is another outdoor vegan food festival in September, so you should all go.
Yeah. Do you attend all of the vegan festivals?
I try to, like, you can usually get in as a media so that it's like low risk for me to go. It's usually, and it's just like the vegetarian food festival, like I love, even though it's more about products, and then like Vegandale is more like a smorgasbord.
Oh, that's coming up, right, in May?
In May, yeah.
Okay.
I'll be speaking on a panel there too, so if you want to come see me again, you can see on my stories, it's the same.
But yeah, thank you guys for coming. And we're about to eat some really good food. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I'm really hungry. Didn't eat breakfast, so
The spice is right in the morning. It's good too.
That's right. But yeah, thank you guys, and thank you for Spicy Moon for having us, and thank you for Crystal
Yay!
for speaking.